Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, college coaches and fans of high school and college football. This is Coach Anthony Williams, founder and CEO of Connected Athletics. We are a startup company based in Austin, Texas. We're focused on using this big social media platform to allow high school, college, and professional athletes to tell their story. We want them to have a chance to tell their journey, to share who they are, not only on the field playing their sport, but more importantly, who they are as people away from their sport, what their hobbies are, what their interests are, tell us about their family and some things that you normally can't get from a huddle video or from a Twitter timeline. So before I get to our special guest tonight, who was named our Buffalo Wild Wings Player of the Week, I'll get to him in a second. But first, let's thank our sponsors. First and foremost, while we're here, Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings, we all love wings. The regional VP, who is a good friend of mine, Brian Soltis, is also very passionate about student athletes and helping them, give them a platform to share their story. So he got Buffalo Wild Wings to sponsor our podcast. So I want to thank them for that. I also want to thank my friends up in Nebraska, a company called Go Edit Graphics. They create graphics for any high school or college or pro athletic department who wants to add visuals, add optics, add edits to their outbound communication, whether it's a player spotlight, a schedule change, or any outbound communication. They can add some graphics that are customized to their school colors and to their mascot. And then lastly, our last sponsor is Go Epic, Epic 24/7. They are a new graphics company based out of Houston. Good friend of mine, Stefan Johnson, is the CEO there. They do all kinds of apparel. They do high school uniforms. They do 7-on-7 jerseys. They do workout gear. They have a really nice flair to their designs. And so if you're interested in them, you can go to I am Epic 24/7. Just so you know, Epic stands for Every Play I Compete. I love that title, love that line. They have a lot of great stuff. So if you're interested in some new workout gear, you might want to check them out. With all that out of the way, I want to get to our main guest. And while we're here tonight, this young man is part of a really good team that is taking the season by storm here. Let me introduce you to Oliver Arredondo. He's a linebacker like myself, so that obviously is the one thing I love about him. He goes to San Antonio Brennan High School down in the San Antonio area. He's class of 23. I love this part. His GPA is 4.0. He's 5'11", about 195 pounds. Love this part also. He's a National Honor Society member. He's a vice president at his school. And you can, to coaches, you can see his Twitter name there. Oliver, how you doing this evening?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm looking forward to telling your story and getting your name out there. You guys are off to a tremendous start of the season. Tell us a little bit about your season so far and the amount of work you put in to have the success you're having now.
Oh yeah, we're having a great season so far. 4-0. On a bye week this week, hoping to keep that winning streak going. But really, we've been working all summer. Our school does a great job of really keeping that summer program, keeping us in line. And I feel like that's really what's helping us get that start that we needed to keep the season the way we want it to go.
Yeah, standard question, but did you guys as a team have a goal of being undefeated at this point in the season? I'm sure you probably had like a district championship and going deep in the playoffs, but did you guys kind of have a feel like, hey, we could be undefeated going into our bye week?
Oh yes, sir. We have a couple goals, as Brennan football, and it's win district, go undefeated, win the region, and then win state championship. And I feel like this year we definitely have a really good chance of doing that.
Awesome. Well, hey, let's let these coaches know a little more about you. Let's talk about the most important thing, as you probably know, which is academics. Every coach has to start there to qualify any prospects. Tell us about your academic work ethic. You hear a lot of guys talk about their grind when they're working out and playing, but tell us about your academic grind. Tell us how you drive and get that 4.0 GPA.
Yeah, well, my parents have done a great job of keeping me in line when it comes to grades. I definitely have some strict rules when it comes to grades. All A's, high A's if we can. And I feel like that's really what's motivated me to get that 4.0 GPA and keep it that way. And our coaches also, as we have study hall all the time, keeping us in check. And yeah.
Have you always been a good student, or did a light switch on maybe in middle school or what?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Elementary school I wasn't the best student.
Okay.
I was definitely when I was kind of in my bad age, but sixth grade is probably when it really clicked for me. My parents kind of sat me down, talked to me, said that you're getting to that age where it's serious now. Like what you do is going to affect you. And ever since then, I've been the same way I've been on the field in the classroom. Just take it very seriously.
I like it. I'm sure there are teammates that on your team and other friends that play that are maybe athletes that don't have a 4.0 GPA. Tell them, take this time, tell them one nugget of information that you do that allows you to keep a 4.0 GPA and still be a strong player on the field.
One thing I would say is go the extra mile. If that's talking to your teacher after school, going to tutoring, do those things. It's really going to help you because, if I get a bad grade, being able to talk to my teacher, being able to, ask them what I did wrong and being able to learn from those mistakes is something that I feel like not a lot of kids do nowadays. And it's really what helps me. And I know it helps a lot of my friends that are very successful when it comes to the grades.
Great. Yeah, Oliver, tell these college coaches, what are some of your favorite classes that drive that 4.0 GPA?
Anatomy and statistics are my two.
Nice. Okay. Now, is that something you might want to major in when you get to college here in a couple of years, or what do you think about as a major?
Right now, I'm looking to become a biology major with a focus on pre-med.
Nice. Okay, I like it. I like that a lot. One of the things that college coaches want to know about their prospects is their learning style, both in the classroom and on the field. Tell these coaches, would you consider yourself more of a verbal, visual, or hands-on learning style?
I would say for both that I'm pretty hands-on. I feel like, whether it's doing drills or, learning how to do a math problem, if I'm able to kind of see visually and hold what I'm doing, that's where I have the most success with.
Okay, I like it. We're getting through this pandemic and it looks like we're starting to slowly get back to a normal recruiting cycle. College coaches will be able to come on campus and visit some of the prospects here coming up. For those college coaches that haven't seen you at school yet and in a classroom setting, tell these coaches, where do you sit? How do you interact with your classmates? And more importantly, how do you interact with your teacher?
Oh, I'm always, if I can, sit at the front of the class. And I feel like I treat my teachers the same way I treat my coaches. Have that level of respect that they're an adult, they know what they're talking about. They have only good intentions for you, and I feel like that the only real way to treat them is with respect, and give them everything I got. So whether I'm on the field or I'm in the classroom, I'm gonna give my all.
Okay. Well, let's switch over and learn a little bit more about you personally. You mentioned your parents earlier. Tell us about your family. What do your mom and dad do? Do you have siblings? Any former athletes in the family? Give us a little bit of background about the Arredondo family.
Well, my dad's a retired Air Force, and he's a paramedic at Lackland Air Force Base. And my mom's actually from England, and she works from home now. And then my sister is 19 and attends UIW and is a nursing major.
So you're the baby of the family?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yeah, so am I. I love that baby of the family stuff. And by the way, thank you. I'm an Army brat, and I know you're an Air Force brat, but tell your dad thank you for his service to the military, obviously, and keeping our country safe. We definitely want to show respect to him, so I appreciate that. Were any of your mom and dad or your sister or any athletes in the family besides yourself?
My dad played baseball, and he said he was pretty good, but we know how that goes. So. And then my mom did running when she was in high school, and then my sister played volleyball at Brennan.
Okay, all right. So there's some athletic talent in the family. That's good. Tell me, Oliver, when you're done with the workouts, you're done with practice or games, you have no other, homework is done. What are some of your hobbies? What do you like to do when all your other responsibilities are taken care of? What are your hobbies? What are your interests?
I love getting an extra lift in, but one of the things that I would say really I love doing is, just spending time with my friends, my football friends, just outside of football, really, clicking with them and having a laugh, whether it's going out to eat somewhere or if it's just hanging out at someone's house. Those are the things I like.
Okay. I mentioned earlier, Oliver, how important social media is to recruiting. For those coaches that have not viewed your Twitter timeline, tell them what kind of message are you putting out there about yourself, your team, and what you do in the community?
It's a lot of support, I would say. I'm always, retweeting, liking all my fellow teammates, all their posts, encouraging words. You won't see anything bad on my profile, and it's a lot of positivity, I would say.
Okay. A little bit more about you personally. Tell us, what's your all-time favorite sports movie? And it doesn't have to be football.
I would say probably Waterboy.
Okay, nice choice. I like that a lot. Okay. When it's your time to pick what you guys may have go out to eat or have dinner, what's your favorite food?
I would probably say pasta.
Okay, Pasa, good choice. And then I don't know if you're into Marvel or DC Comics, but if you could be a superhero, who would you be and why?
I would probably say that I would like to be Superman, just for the fact that he can fly. I feel like if I
Yeah.
could fly, that would be awesome.
Okay. All right. I like that response. Can't go wrong with Superman. Oliver, tell these coaches when you get time, probably over the next 12 months here, to start deciding what school you'll commit to, who's going to be involved in helping you make that decision.
Oh, for sure. My mom and dad, they've always been a big part of my life. So I feel like that jump from high school to college is something that I feel like they should be a part of.
Okay. Anybody else outside the family?
Outside outside the family, probably one of my, well, we call him family, but it's one of our
Yeah.
friends, and they've him and his wife have been a huge part of my life ever since I was little, and they would definitely have a say, I would say, in my college
Yeah.
choices.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'm looking forward to coming down and watch you guys play at home. You guys, I know you guys have a packed crowd. The community really supports you. There's not an athlete that doesn't love playing in front of a big crowd. But tell these coaches, what are you doing to give back to that community? Are you involved in church? Are you involved in nonprofit programs? Are you giving back to a youth program? What are you doing to give back to your community down there in near Brennan?
Oh, well, I do volunteer at the food bank. And also, any opportunity I can to help in my school is something I really love doing. They support us the most. And, if we didn't have the funding and everything from Brennan itself, we wouldn't have the football team we do. And so, anytime, whether I'm just, helping at a fair, or if I'm just, passing out sodas at school, you know, it's just something that, my mom always told me, if you can give a chance to help someone that helps you, you make sure to do it.
Yeah, no, I love that saying by your mom. And one of my favorite sayings from my parents was, if you can't help somebody, at least don't hurt anybody. That's something that's kind of going wrong in our country right now, but that's a whole other topic. Let me ask you this. And this is one of my favorite questions, whether you play in college or in the NFL, when your football career is over, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want to say, hey, I look back and the things that made me a great football player are going to make me a great, whatever that's going to be. What do you want your life personally to look like when you're done with the game?
Well, I would love to have, a wife, kids, have a real loving family, but I would also like to be a pediatric surgeon. And so,
Nice.
if everything goes in line, I'm hoping that's my goal.
I love that. I love that you have a plan in place. Now you just got to execute that. That is awesome to hear. Tell me, Oliver, do you have a favorite quote or Bible verse? And if you do, what is it?
Well, I don't know exactly which one, but I know my dad says it, and it's the worst thing in life, or the worst things in life come free to us.
Yeah, that's a good one. Absolutely. This is one of my other favorite questions, Oliver, because we've all played, and there's always a moment we go, yeah, I did that. What's your favorite sports memory of yourself as a player? Could be Pop Warner, could be baseball. When you said, yeah, this one time I did that. Could be middle school, could have been last week. What's your favorite memory of yourself as a player?
Probably, I would say when I played Pop Warner. I was a bigger kid, so I played D line, and I remember lining up, and I just shot the A gap, and I literally took the handoff from the quarterback and ran it for 60 yards. And then after the kickoff, they got the ball back, and I did the same thing again. So I had
Wow.
back-to-back touchdowns.
Okay, well, that's pretty special. I can see why that's a favorite memory. That's big time. Oliver, tell us this is one of my other favorite questions. What's your why? Why do you play the game? This is obviously, this is not an easy game to play. It isn't like a individual sport. It isn't like basketball. It's not a contact sport. It's a collision sport. Tell these coaches, what is your why? What drives you to be the best at this game, especially on the days when you don't feel like working out or you don't feel like getting hit? What's your why? What drives you as a player?
Well, I feel like my why is really those days that, I don't want to hit, I don't want to work out, just because, I see football almost like an analogy for life.
Yeah.
You knock down, you get back up,
Yep.
it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get up.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. And so, if I can, on those days where I struggle the most, if I can, persevere and push my way through those, those tough times, I feel like that's really what motivates me to keep going.
Yeah. I've watched your film. You're a good athlete. Let me ask you kind of a two-part question. Why did you choose the greatest position there is in football, linebacker? And what other sports do you play?
Well, I chose linebacker because, kind of going into sixth grade, I kind of hit that growth spurt. I started, bulking up a little bit. And one of the high school coaches came down, Coach Campbell, one of my favorite coaches of all time, actually. and
Hmm.
he came down and he talked to us, and he pulled me aside and he was like, I want you to play linebacker. And ever since I've played linebacker. And then what was the second part? Sorry.
The second part was, what does it do to drive you? Well, no, it was, what other sports have you played?
Oh, and then I throw discus for our school.
Okay, I like it. Okay, college, as you know, college coaches love football players that participate in track in the spring, whether you're winning meets or not. But you got to be competing. So I love to hear you say that. Tell me, Oliver, do you have a nickname that the family or your teammates call you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much known at football as Ollie, so I would say that.
Ollie. Okay. All right. Perfect. As we finish up here, let's talk about the recruiting a little bit. You're in your junior year now. What's been your experience so far? Have you heard from some schools, or have you started putting together a list? Where are you in your recruiting right now?
I would say I'm really early on in the stage of recruiting.
Mhm.
I didn't really take freshman sophomore year very seriously, and so I'm really trying to catch up right now.
Okay. All right. And so are you open to, do you want to stay in state? Are you okay with going to school out of state? What are some of the things you're looking for as you finish out your high school career from a college?
It doesn't really matter to me, location, as long as I have that real connection with the school and the coaching
Mhm.
staff, that's what really matters to me.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you want to obviously go to a school that's got a good biology program to set you up for being a pediatrician, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Tell me, and this is one of my getting into recruiting a little bit, but tell me what from your perspective makes you a great teammate?
What makes me a great teammate is, I would say that I have the ability to be a leader and a follower, if that makes sense. So being able
Hmm.
to, lead others, push each other past, the breaking point, but also being able to not just be the leader that thinks he's all that, being able to listen to others, being able to take, constructive criticism, being able to listen to my peers, and being able to take their knowledge and using it to my advantage.
Yeah, it's a great response. A lot of people talk about being leaders, but you have to have followers also. And it's not in a negative term, but football, as you know, is the ultimate team sport. And if you've got a team full of leaders, sometimes some of the leaders have to follow. So I love that you understand that perspective. That's very mature on your part. Oliver, as a linebacker right now, you're in your junior year. You guys are off to a great start. We talked about it earlier. What do you consider your strengths right now? And what are some of your, I won't say weaknesses, what are some of the things you're working on as a linebacker?
I would say one of my strengths is being able to kind of understand the game. I haven't always had the best football knowledge, but I feel like as I've grown up, my football IQ's definitely gone up. I feel like I'm starting to understand the game more and more. And like you said, one of my weaknesses, I would say, is probably keeping my pad level low. That's one
Yeah.
thing to work on.
Yep. Yep. As a linebacker, I can tell you, in a linebacker coach in college, you got to win the pad level. Your pad level's got to be lower than everybody else, especially those big linemen and things like that. So you definitely understand that, because you can't work on something if you don't know what the issue is. So I love that. Tell me, would your teammates and coaches describe you as a dependable player?
Yeah, at least I hope so. Um, you know, I feel like, one of our mottos for the team is be earlier on time, and I'm always there 15 minutes early if I can,
Mhm.
and I feel like for me that's where it all starts off. If you can't be there early, you're not going to be there on time. Then what's the point? If you
Yeah.
show up late, there's no gain, and I feel
Right.
like.
Right. No, I understand. I mean, I totally agree. Which leads to my next question is how big, people think football is just about being big and fast and strong, but it's also about trust. Your teammates have to trust you. You've got to trust them. And more importantly, your coaches have to trust you that you'll do your assignment late in the fourth quarter when you're tired and you may be up or down. Tell us about the importance of trust from your perspective as a linebacker who's got to kind of control his front line, communicate with the back end, the corners and safeties. Tell us how important trust is to you as a player.
Oh yeah, like you said, trust is huge. Having the D line, the corners, the DBs listening to you, it's definitely huge. And not just that, but being able to trust the individuals, not just as a whole, not just or as the position as a whole, but the individuals. Being able to know that this guy, I can trust him to do his job, and him doing his job will allow the other guy to do his job, will allow the other guy to do his job,
Yeah.
make me do the job. So it's
You
one of
know,
those things where it's huge.
Yeah, no, you make a great point, because for those that maybe don't know or don't play the game, I mean, being a linebacker, it's all about gap responsibility. And if you got two guys in the same gap, there's a gap open, and you start playing good teams, they will find that gap. So football is the ultimate of 11 guys understanding their lane, understanding responsibility, and more importantly, trusting that if I got B gap, I know that I always got A gap or always got A gap. So that's a big part of a linebacker. I'm glad you definitely understand that. Tell these coaches, Oliver, are you a big film study guy? You like watching film to get ready each week for each week's games?
Oh yeah, I love watching film. Me and my friend Elijah, another linebacker that we have, we've had a couple Zoom calls, where we watch film together, and I feel like that's something that me and him, do really well is being able to watch film and enjoy it and really understand the game rather than it being almost like a task.
I talk to a lot of players around the country. A lot of them watch film. I ask them specific questions. I can get a feeling that they don't really understand what they're watching. Tell these coaches about your football IQ. When you watch film, what's the one thing you're looking for to give you an advantage on Friday nights?
One thing that I look for is really tendencies. If I can see a guard, who likes to line up a little farther back when he's pulling, if a guard looks where he's going, if, a tackle, if I can tell if he's working up on this play or if he's not, this or back alignments, if he's, Bravo back, it's things like that where it's the small things that kind of can give me almost hints, that are going to tell me what's right.
No, you're very wise, Oliver. You tell, every offense has tendencies, and if you find them in film, they will show up again on Friday. Nobody changes the way they are throughout the week. So you definitely have that high football IQ. I like that. Hey, Ollie, is there a certain linebacker or player at the college or pro level that you pat yourself off of? And if you do, who is it? Who's your favorite linebacker?
I think I'm gonna have to go with Ray Lewis just because he has that, kill or be killed mindset. It's you go out there every day, and you're taking someone's head off. I love that.
Yeah, okay. That's one of the best ones to get out there. Another couple of things here, finishing up, college coaches we all talk about mental toughness. Tell these college coaches, how do you define mental toughness and articulate how you are as far as how you handle being mentally tough each week?
Well, mental toughness is huge. There's gonna be, coaches, players that are gonna try to break you. And if you can, like I said before, football's life. If you can withstand those challenges and you can be mentally strong and just block out all the noise and you can keep going, then you're gonna be fine. It's when the people that let the words and the noise get to them, that's when it really struggles.
Great response. Completely agree with you on that one. As you talk about mental toughness, let's talk a little bit about leadership. Everybody wants a leader. You can't really define it, but everybody knows what it looks like when they see it. Tell these coaches, how do you define leadership and how are you leading as a junior on your team right now?
Oh, well, obviously, leaders, they speak up. But one of the things that I notice when I see a leader is the people who, even when they're not saying anything, they're leading. When they have that alpha mentality of being able to, have, lead by example rather than talk.
Yeah, big time. I like that a lot. Tell us about, another thing that, this about football. Football is all about overcoming adversity. You could miss a tackle in one series or drop an interception, but the next play, the next series, you can make up for it. Tell these coaches, how do you overcome adversity, and maybe tell us an example of a time where you had some adversity and you overcame it.
Yeah, well, like my coaches say, you're only as good as your last play. So, you get up, you miss a tackle, you get up, the next play, you go out and you ball as hard as you can. You do everything you can to fix that mistake, learn from it. And if you know what you did wrong, you're gonna fix it.
Okay. Let me, because I play linebacker also, I love playing inside, play a little outside, but I love the inside. Let me have you grade yourself on a couple of important linebacker skills. Let's start from bottoms up, which is important. Let's talk about your stance. What grade from A to F would you give your stance?
I would probably say B plus.
Okay. What about over 4 quarters? What grade would you give your pad level?
My pad level over 4 quarters, I would probably say C plus.
Yeah, you're honest. I like that. Okay.
Yeah,
what about your footwork?
Footwork, I would say probably a B.
Okay. And then what about coming downhill in run defense?
I would say probably a B plus. Somewhere.
Okay. And then lastly, what about in pass coverage, either whether it's man-to-man or zone? How are you against passing schemes?
I would also say probably a B plus.
Okay. All right. I mean, most kids, everybody thinks they're A's and they're not. We're all work in progress, and you have to know what you need to work on. So I love your honesty there. So Ollie, tell us, there's a lot of college coaches watching. A lot of the college coaches want to understand what these prospects are bringing to their school and to their football program. Look in the camera right now and tell them why they should recruit you and what you're going to bring to their program.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna give everything I got, in the classroom, on the field, in the weight room. I'm gonna give you 110%. At the end of every rep, you're gonna know that I gave everything I had, and you're gonna be able to see, oh, Ollie knows what he's doing.
Okay. And then what about from a school perspective? I mean, how are you going to represent the university from a point of what kind of student will you be? How will you be interacting on campus? So tell these coach a little bit about that also.
Yeah, well, obviously, I want to keep what I'm doing, keep up my, my academic level. I'm going to be, the best student I can be. I'm going to be front of the class student, sitting in the front, asking questions. My coach always tells me, the smartest people always ask the most questions. And so,
Yep.
I'm definitely one of those kids that isn't afraid to ask questions. And yeah.
Great. Well, Ollie, great job in the interview. And let me tell you, I can see why Buffalo Wild Wings picked you as player of the week. There's always focus on the quarterback and the running backs. I love it when we get a linebacker on here because without players like us, the offense can't get the ball back. And, you had a big week last week. You had like 5 tackles. I think you caused 2 fumbles, recovered one of them. You're a big-time player, man. So I'm looking forward to getting down there and watch you guys live and enjoy your bye week. And looking forward to you guys having a great second half of the season.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for
All right,
having me.
man. Have a good night. Thanks a lot,
All
Ollie.
right, you too. Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.